Welcome to episode number 6 in my series talking about Bach's organ music, talking a bit about why he wrote it, talking about my experience with the piece, and here is a piece that has accompanied me for precisely 50 years. I'm 67, and I learned this when I was 17 years old. It's been a great companion in my journey as an organist. So the Fantasia and Fugue in G minor, BWV 542. The BW thing is just sort of the way you catalog all Bach's works, is you put a BWV and a number after it. So it's known as 542. The Fantasia is an extraordinarily emotional piece. Essentially, we have 5 sections. We have this toccata-like stuff with fast scales and tortuous harmony. Then we have a very strict contrapuntal, fairly quiet thing, very logical in order. Back to this toccata-like stuff. Again, second round of the contrapuntal music, very calm. And then we just crank up for the ending. So that's the overall framework. Loud, soft, loud. That's the Fantasia as we map it out. I want to just talk a little bit about those loud sections and what's going on there, because it all feels so right. The harmonies are incredible, they're rich, they're unexpected. It shows Bach as an absolute master of his craft. And but then when you start to getting analytical about it all, you find some interesting things happening. This piece is in G minor, and as we move through the cadence points, a cadence point is when the music does something like this. That's kind of an ending of a piece. So when you have a big cadence, it's the end of a phrase or something, you can take a look at the final chord and make a note of it. So all the major cadences here, I'm going to take a look at the final chord and see where we've got to. Well, we start in G minor with a big... So we're moving through G minor. When we get to the next major cadence, we find that it's gonna go like this. I am playing a chord of A major. Bear this in mind. So G minor, A major, G, A. We're moving from G to A. And now here comes the next one. B minor. So G minor, A, B. Can you guess what the next cadence point will be? You got it. C. And then the next one will be in the key of D. So we have our D major chord. I guess it's time for E flat, and that's coming up now. E flat minor. Next one, it's going to be F minor. It's got to be F of some sort. So here we have it. As we move up the scale, we have... there's our F minor. Well, we might as well just complete it. And the next on the scale will be G. So here we are, we're back in G. So this is a very chromatic piece. All kinds of interesting things going on, but it's not random. You can see Bach has carefully thought it out, and I've just exposed one layer of what is happening as this comes together. All right, why did Bach write this piece? Not quite sure. We know that it was written in 1720. We know that in 1720 he went to Hamburg to audition to get a job at one of the churches there. We know there was a famous old organist there in the pews listening to him as he did that. This is a piece that would show off his compositional skills, his improvising, his technical skills, but he's also got a sense of humor about things. So this intense piece of music here, which is going through all the chromatic stuff, is going to be followed by a delightful fugue And that fugue, I might as well spill the beans right now. Remember, famous old organist there, name of Reinken, Dutch background, but working in Germany. So here is a folk tune from Holland. And Bach's fugue, he's going to take that theme and play something a little more elaborate and make it into one fantastic fugue. So you can see he's just saying, hey, that's a folk tune, it's humorous words, and Mr. Reinken, I just wanted to give you some credit and acknowledge your background, and there's a Dutch tune for you, but I'm now going to incorporate it into an incredibly complex piece that will show off all kinds of things. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about pedaling now, because this is one major challenge for the feet as well as coordinating with everything else. And I think at the moment I might as well just clear up the Fantasia by showing you how all that chromatic stuff is summed up. And at the end of the Fantasia, we've gone through all these different keys. In fact, I did a study. I thought, oh, okay, there are actually 12 notes in the scale. One, and that's 12 more in the minor, C minor, C major, 24 altogether. So I made a list of them, and I went through the Fantasia, just how many of these 24 chords did he use? And you see there's check marks everywhere. Every C minor, C major, every G flat, they're all there, except for one. A minor is not represented in this Fantasia. I have no idea why. If you know the answer, please tell me. I'd love to know. Now, if I might just diverge a little bit before playing this thing. I mentioned that 50 years ago I learned this piece. I was at boarding school in England, and rather under the shadow of a fellow student by the name of James Lancelot, who was definitely one of the most brilliant musicians in England and went on for an incredible career in music. We've kept in touch, and he's just retired from Durham Cathedral. He was the golden boy at school, and I was kind of forgotten as under his he was just dazzling. Incredible what he could do. He was the organ scholar at King's College, Cambridge, appointed there at the age of 17, had his fellowship at 15, just a remarkable kid. And I was kind of trailing along. Great influence on me, because I would creep into the darkened chapel, vast cathedral-like space at night, and listen to him playing, and certainly great inspiration from doing that. Anyway, after my first year of organ, I kind of learned quite a lot, and I went home for the summer, and I was somehow, I wanted to come back with some of these major pieces learned, and I chose the Fantasia and Fugue in G minor. Came back to school after the summer holidays, and my organ teacher said, "What do you got for me?" Fantasia and Fugue in G minor. Oh, that's challenging. Are you sure you're ready for that? So he went downstairs while I went up the spiral staircase and got on the organ and started to play. And he listened from downstairs. It's the best place to hear the organ rather than right leaning over my shoulder. And then he came up and he said, very good. Can you turn to page 3? I'd like to... I'm sorry, I don't have any music. It's from memory. And he looked at me, what? Where's your music? You've done this from memory? And he said, stay there. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. And he ran off and came back with the director of music, and they were both downstairs and said, start again, please. So I started again, and I played the fugue. And from that moment on, I was no longer in the shadow of James Lancelot, but it was nice, and they helped me get into Royal College of Music and pursue my career. So that's a bit of my background. That's a bit why I am so in love with this incredible piece. So in the fugue, we have some challenging pedal work to do. I have mentioned in my exposition of the Holy Spirit theme in the St. Anne Prelude and Fugue that it's not easy to do scales with your feet, but it's very easy to do this right, left stuff. that stuff's easy. And so Bach has made that fugue, the subject, full of those kind of... So it's fairly straightforward to play. When I say fairly straightforward, it still is one of the hardest fugues. And remember, he's applying for a job in Hamburg, and he's wants to impress them. So it is a bit of a challenge, and I look forward to seeing if I can get the notes right. And I forgot to tie this all together. The chromaticism of the Fantasia, all those different luxuriant chords, those delicious crunchy sounds, all those diminished sevenths, and then moving through each key one at a time. Well, he bears it all, so to speak, when he gets to the end of the Fantasia, and all that chromaticism, which means one white note, black note, white note, black note, he just lets the pedal sum it up, and the pedal has a little solo, so that the end of the Fantasia will sound like this, with this pedal solo coming up. Here then is Bach's Fantasia and Fugue in G minor. the fugue. Thank you very much for listening in. Look forward to seeing you again. Looking forward to preparing some more great Bach pieces for you in the future. Thank you.